Okay, let's take a look at pages 63 and 64. This is also about adding decimals, but notice the difference between the problems that were on the previous pages where they were lined up vertically, and these are written horizontally. So the new part is not the addition here. The new part is how do we get these set up in a way that's easy for us to add. So I'm just going to start writing it vertically. It doesn't matter what number you start with, so maybe you want to take the whole number first or the longest, the one that has the most digits in it. I'm just going to start from the left here. Maybe we'll mix it up as we go along just so that you can see that it doesn't make a difference. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this 0.3, 3/10, and then I have to put 5.4 or 5 4/10 underneath it so that the place values line up. So again, remember, this is the tenths place. I need to make sure that the tenths place in this number lines up with the tenths place in this number. And again, the easiest way to do that is to make sure the decimal points line up. So I'm going to put the decimal point right here so that they line up, and then I'm going to make sure that the tenths place lines up. The tenths place in this number lines up with the tenths place in this number, and then I'm going to put the hundredths place, the ones place to the left of the decimal. All right, and then 78. Again, notice that doesn't have a decimal point, but as we talked about before, every number has a decimal point. It just might not be written, and if it's not written, it always comes after the last digit. So this is really 78 point, and then we can just add the tenths place right there so that when we go to put this in, it lines up. So again, I'm going to take the decimal point and make sure it lines up with the other two. That way I'm guaranteed to get the same place value in the right spot. This has a 0 in the tenth spot, and then an 8 in the ones place, and then a 7 in the tens place. And now I'm just going to add them together. All right, so now it's exactly like the problems that we just did on page 58 and 59. All right, so we remove 3/10 and 4/10 is 7/10, and then 5 ones and 8 ones would be 13 ones. Whoops, let me put that decimal right there. 5 and 8 is 13. Carry the 1, and then 7 and 1 is 8. All right, so your answer would be 83.7. All right, let's try number 2. So this time I'm going to mix it up, instead of starting with the one on the left here, I'm going to start with the longest one. It doesn't make a difference. You might get to a point where you have a preference. So I'm going to line that, I'm going to write that 0.0056. And then just for fun, I'll take the next longest one, which is this one. All right, and again, I'm not going to put it like this, like we usually do when we add, without decimals, because that would get them in the wrong spot. This would be, I would be adding 0 hundredths with 6 ones. That just doesn't make sense. So please don't do that. That's how we would do it without decimals, but with decimals, we need to line the decimals up. So the next thing is I have to take, and I have to write the 6 in the ones place, and then the 9 in the tenths place, and the 8 in the hundredths place. All right, again, if I'm going with the one with the most digits to least digits, this would be next. So again, I'm going to put the decimal place where it belongs so that they all line up. Again, guaranteeing that I'm adding the same places. So then the tenths place has an 8 in it, and the hundredths place has a 4 in it. And then finally, the shortest number is 1. And again, it does not have a decimal, so it's an implied decimal right after the 1. So I'm going to put that, and then I'll put the 1. Let me put a plus sign here. Now I'm just going to go through and I'm going to fill in zeros on the right to make sure that everything lines up there, that every place has a digit in it, even if it's 0. All right, so here I would put 4 zeros after that. Okay, so then we add 6 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. Again, this is 6 10,000s plus 0 10,000s plus 0 10,000s plus 0 10,000s is 6 10,000s. Then we would do the same thing for the thousandths column. And then the hundredths column, this would give us 12 hundredths. So we would carry there. 1 tenth plus 9 tenths is 10 tenths plus 8 is 18 tenths. And then we would get 8. All right. Now, you take a second to line these up. Again, however you want to line them up, order doesn't matter. Just make sure that you don't skip any. This because now we're getting longer. Here we only had 3, then 4, now we have 5. All right, so maybe pause the video for just a second, and I want you to line them up, and then come back and make sure that that we get the same thing. All right, so pause and come back. Okay, so I'm just going to go in order this time. So 750, I'm going to put that decimal point right there so that when I put the next number, I'm ready for it. So here is the decimal point in 2.9. So the 2 goes to the left of it and the 9 goes to the right. In 0.506 or 506 thousandths, the decimal point goes here, and then I put 506. And then in this number, the decimal point goes right here, and I put the 9 in the ones place to the left of the decimal and 074 to the right. Again, I'm being very neat about this. I'm making sure that I get every digit lined up. Please try not to be sloppy about this because you might end up with a digit in the wrong place if you're just being sloppy. Right, again, here is the decimal point and the 7 goes there. And again, take your time with this. Make sure that all these line up. I'm going to put a 0 here. Make sure that in this tenths place, all of these line up. Here's what I don't want you to do. All right, don't write this. I'm just going to be like, all right, the longest one is 0 places. I'm just going to do 0, 0, 0. Look how they don't line up. All right, this 0 is not even close to being in this column. So take your time. All right. It's less important with zeros. Imagine if we wrote 0.506 and we wrote it like this. All right, you would be like, what do I even add together here? So make sure that you're consistent. If it helps you to do graph paper, please feel free to use graph paper because that forces you sometimes to put them in a nice neat line. So again, I'm going to make sure that this goes 0, directly under it is another 0. Here's another 0, and then same thing here, 0, 0, 0. All right, and now we just add. I'm going to erase this circle around the 5 so that I don't run into it. All right, so 0 thousandths, 0 thousandths, 6 thousandths, and 4 thousandths, and 0 thousandths. That's 10 thousandths. All right, then we carry that 1. 1 plus 7 is 8. These are hundredths. And then 9 plus 5 is 14, and 14 plus 7 is 21 tenths. But again, feel free to put zeros anywhere you want here if it's a blank. So we've got 2 plus 2 is 4 ones, plus 9 is 13 ones. Sorry, I forgot to put that decimal there. There's a 3, carry the 1, that's a 6, and then 7. All right, this one's a fun one. Go ahead and pause and do this one, and then come back. All right, here's what mine looks like. 0.1 plus 2.0. Again, I'm putting that decimal point in, putting it in, putting it in, putting it in. So 0.1, 2.0, 0.3, 4.0, 0.5, 6.0. Goodness, I don't have enough room where I'm working here. All right, 0.7, 8.0, and 0.9. Boy, I did not leave enough room for myself. All right, again, feel free to put zeros here. And again, be careful, all your decimals line up, all your digits line up. Okay, when we go to add these, I'm going to pull a Fred Gauss here, and I'm going to say 1 plus 9 is 10, and then 3 plus 7 is 10, that makes 20, and then another 5. All right, so I'm going to run out of room right here, so I'm going to come up here. This is not good use of space. I should have done it over here. So I got 25. I'm going to put down the 5 and the decimal place, and now I'm going to carry the 2 over here. Hopefully you did yours over here with more room. All right, so then again, I can do 8 plus 2 is 10, 6 plus 4 is 10, that gives me 20, plus 2 more is 22. So 22.5 would be our answer. Okay, I have 6 and 7, but my guess is that you probably don't need me to do these. I think that probably you could figure these out on your own based on what we've just done. So I'm not going to do these. I'm going to let you try them. All right? Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.